Google Analytics recently released an AI chatbot called Analytics Advisor. I tried to use it, and here are my impressions on the good and the bad. You can access Analytics Advisor by clicking on this icon at the top right corner. When I'm recording this video, this feature is available in those properties where the language is set to English. Once you click the icon, the sidebar will appear where you can start chatting with AI. This is powered by Gemini. And this chatbot right here has direct access to your analytics property data, so you can ask various questions and you might get answers like numbers, charts, tables, and so on. You can also get some support like troubleshooting tips or instructions on how to achieve something, but more on that a bit later. First, let me start with things that this chat does pretty well. So if you have a quick question where you need a single number, for example, you want to know how many purchases did you have last week coming from a particular traffic source, then Analytics Advisor is more than enough. For example, here I will switch to the official Google Analytics demo account. And if I click the advisor and write something like, how many sales did I get from Google organic search in the last 7 days? Let's see what will be the result. And here in the chat, you can also see the thought process of the Analytics Advisor, what kind of things it is checking, where it is currently at, and then eventually you will get the result. And here eventually I got the number. So in the last 7 days, this online store got 127 e-commerce purchases coming from organic traffic. The chat also shows several widgets. So the first one tells me that I can look at more details in the e-commerce purchases report. Then I can also go to the traffic acquisition report and I see how the number of purchases changed over time. So as you can see, for these kind of questions, this chat is definitely convenient. If you don't want to navigate the interface because maybe you find it quite difficult to use and you just need quick answers, then using Analytics Advisor is definitely an option. By the way, I release Google Analytics or Google Tag Manager tutorials every week. If you want consistent flow of fresh knowledge and to stay up to date, then subscribe to this channel. It will help us a lot. Below this video, you will find a link to a documentation where you can learn more examples of what kind of questions can you ask. So here is the table with examples. For example, here we can ask for the measurement ID. So let's try that. I will just paste this question, hit enter. And we will need to wait for a bit until this request is processed. However, as you have noticed, this is not super fast. I mean, we still need to wait for maybe 10 seconds, sometimes more. So if you are already proficient with the interface of Google Analytics, I would have probably found the measurement ID faster by clicking myself. But of course, I would have needed to do a bunch of clicks here. So it's your choice whether you want to wait for a bit and then just get what you need, or if you decide to navigate the interface and find that yourself. So nevertheless, for basic stuff, Analytics Advisor I think is pretty good. You can use that and save some time. But I've also tried to do a bit more complicated things, and this is where the Analytics Advisor kind of lacks, at least right now. But of course, it's in beta, so I would assume that in the future this will improve. But right now, there are some things where I still definitely prefer my own skills and knowledge and my ability to find certain answers. So now let's talk about several things that this advisor cannot do right now, or maybe it is limited in some way. So the first thing that I noticed, which is a bit of a shame, but again, maybe in the future this will change. So the first thing is that Analytics Advisor cannot change the settings of the property for you. For example, if I went to my own property and let's say that I want to include one more domain in the unwanted referrals list. So I could write something like add example.com to the list of unwanted referrals. I have full permission in this property, so technically I could expect that this should be done, but what you will see is that instead of updating the settings, it will give me instructions on how I should do that. So even though the response is still somewhat relevant, it did not achieve the final result that I wanted to do because I wanted the advisor to do this thing for me. Now let's take a look at another thing where I believe that Analytics Advisor could be improved. So first I will write a query. It can be something similar to the one that I used before. How much revenue did I get from Google organic search, or maybe just organic search, in the last 7 days? So now the request will be processed, and we should get some number, maybe charts, and links to reports where I can dig deeper. And here I have the number. It tells me that in the last 7 days from organic search, I got almost, or maybe even more than $24,000. And here I can click a link to go to the traffic acquisition report. Now, if I click this link, here I will see all traffic sources, and if I check the organic search revenue, it is almost 24,000. So the number here is correct because pretty much the same thing is displayed right here. But what I was expecting is that maybe this report could be more customized out of the box and focus only on the query that I asked, because right now I see all the traffic sources, but since I'm focusing only on organic search, maybe this report could have displayed only the organic search. So that could have been done with the filter. I see a comparison added here, but in my opinion, since I'm filtering just to a particular traffic source, a filter would have made more sense. But on the other hand, at least the number is correct, so AI did not hallucinate right here, but some improvement in the report could be made. And a final note in this video is targeted more towards AI in general rather than Analytics Advisor, because that's a problem of AI and large language models in general, and that is hallucinations. In most cases, when I ask a certain question, then I get answers which are pretty correct and accurate, but sometimes Advisor might hallucinate or pick information from a misleading source. For example, in one of the situations, I asked why did a property have a lot of not set traffic? And while most of the tips given by the advisor were correct, one of them was misleading. And that tip said that if any event fires before the page view, then that session will be displayed as not set, which is incorrect. That's a myth that I busted in the past, and I have run multiple tests. It does not matter whether there is an event that fires before the page view. The traffic source will still work fine. However, there are some blog posts online and some resources that say otherwise. So probably advisor took information from one of those resources and then displayed it as an answer. So my conclusion here is that even though advisor can save you some time, and instead of doing a bunch of clicks you can just get the answer right away, you should still know Google Analytics pretty well, because that way you will be able to question whether this answer is correct or not, and you will be able to quickly identify that. So for those who are experienced with Google Analytics, Advisor can be a great option to save some time and some clicks. But you should never blindly listen to everything that AI says, because sometimes those answers might be incorrect. It might be incorrect because of hallucinations, or sometimes because it uses misleading sources. And that's the end of this video. Have you found any good use cases where Analytics Advisor performed really well? If yes, then please share it in the comments. If you found this video useful, hit the like button. That will help me understand what videos do you like and what should I create in the future. Also, if you want to learn more about Google Tag Manager or GA4, then subscribe to this channel. My name is Julius, this is Analytics Mania, and I'll see you in the next video.